is Managing Director with Techno Electric and Engineering. He's joining us from Kolkata. Mr. Gupta, good morning. Thanks very much for your time. Prashant this side.
Yeah, thank
Now you've
you
sold
so
wind
much.
assets worth about 44, of in totaling about 44 and a half odd megawatt for 215 odd crores or so. Can you just give our viewers some background of this? I mean, were these assets that you developed? Were these assets that you bought from someone? Why are you selling them now? What's the valuation like? How did you arrive at the number? Just some background and perspective, sir, would help.
Yeah, you see, we came in renewable power generation from a strong EPC background in power sector for last 3 decades in 0809. We bought 95 megawatt of assets from Suzlon in 0809. And this 44, out of this 95 megawatt, about 18 megawatt is in Karnataka and another 77 megawatt was in Tamil Nadu. And then we did a greenfield expansion of another 112 megawatt in 1112. So in total we were holding about 207 megawatt in this space, largely in Tamil Nadu. We realized after working for 6-7 years that this definitely does not fit in our core competencies. So we must exit this space as opportunities in other power segments are growing and growing very strongly. We are a strong entity in transmission and distribution space. We own 2 assets already in transmission in Boot, one in Haryana in partnership with Kalpatru Power, and another we are developing.
Let me just interrupt you there. Let me just get some hygiene stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Are you going to be selling this entire 207 megawatts? I mean, acquired and developed?
Yeah,
You're
we are
going to be
looking
disposing
for
all of this off?
Absolutely. We are looking for exiting this space totally, and whatever money we get out of these proceeds will be kept for boot boom business in transmission and distribution segment.
Can you tell us what was your purchase price of this? You said you acquired 98 megawatts from Suzlon, right? You've sold 44, so there is about
Right.
50, 55 still left. What was the purchase price of these assets back then when you acquired it? I think in 2010?
We had bought these assets for about 210 crore of these 44.5 megawatt. So down 6 years of operations, we are more or less able to exit at closer to the very purchase value, and the other assets left with us are a lot more new and are in a very rich wind pockets. Given a good grid evacuation happening, we can expect PLF of more than 28%. So we hope to realize little better per megawatt rate over the rest of the assets than the ones we have already sold.
Right. But it roughly works out to about just under 5 odd crore per megawatt, right? This particular
Absolutely,
transaction.
about 5 crore. Yeah, this is about 4.8 crore a megawatt.
So that's 110 and say 50. So 160 more to go, 160 megawatt more to go that you'd want to sell.
Yeah, under 63 megawatt. Yeah, absolutely.
163. So, and if we assume, can we assume 5 odd crores in terms of
Yeah,
the
it should
sale
be
price?
5 plus only in any way. Yeah, we will be expecting price anywhere between 950 crore plus minus on these remaining assets.
5 crores plus minus, right? That's what you're saying, per megawatt, and 160 of it to be
right,
sold.
Right.
Right. So you'd basically largely get out at the acquisition price, or I'm just trying to understand at your P&L level, will there be any profit, and how will it be treated?
Yeah, it will be around 1.2 times the book value. So obviously it will appear in our books as a capital gain, and it will be treated in the accounts or books accordingly.
Okay. So you'd be paying the capital gains tax, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And we're talking about the whole 207 megawatt here, not the one that you've sold now.
Right. Right, absolutely.
Right. What is the total value of these assets, sir, on the book, you said?
You see, exact book value I won't be able to say, but our total capex, at gross level, when we had invested was about 1050 crores in this segment, which happened in 8, 9 and 11, 12.
Post this sale, etc., can you tell us what is the resultant increase in the cash balance in the company at Techno going to be, and how are you going to utilize that jump in cash balance? Will you pay out a special dividend? What would you do?
No, as I said, we intend using this cash largely for developing our boot and boom assets in the transmission space. Now distribution, also government has proposed amendment for disconnect of the carrier and content. Techno specializes in building of carriers, so that will be another space to invest in triple P mode going forward. So we are looking, like already government, if you have read 2 days back, government said they will be bidding out no less than 100,000 crore of projects in the transmission space. So we are only preparing for that space well in time to be playing our role in that segment, as more than 50% of transmission space in the country is built by us for very power utilities like power grid and state utilities countrywide.
Got that. Got that. So you're in a way ruling out giving out a special dividend. Is that correct?
I'll not say definitely dividend will be improved upon what we have been paying in the past, but I'll not like to use the label special, because we will like to pay a growing dividend year after year.
No, I mean, instead of special, if I say one-time dividend, you're not planning a one-time dividend, right?
Yeah, I get you. We are not planning one-time dividend, but definitely the rate of dividends will be much better going forward, maybe twice of what we have paid in the past.
Sure. Sure. Now, companies like Suzlon are kind of coming back they seem to be back from the dead, if I can use that terminology, in the wind power space. We had a listing recently of Inox Wind. There seems to be a fair bit of interest, of course, with the government also seemingly keen to promote that sector. So I'm just trying to step back and ask you, why are you exiting that space, even as players, legacy players, are making a comeback like Suzlon?
You see, this is basically a subject of core competencies and very government policies and regulatory mechanisms associated with it. In the last 5-6 years, the government attempted to do renewable power under the very Electricity Act 2003, where a lot more space was left for the state governments. In my perspective, unless this business becomes national and it has a national flavor and perspective, for which National Renewable Energy Act is heard to be placed shortly in Parliament, unless all these initiatives are in place, a sustainable regime of achieving the government's ambitious targets of 250 gigawatt over next 7 years will be keenly watched by the very entities involved in this business. No doubt, government is bringing very stable and sensible reforms in this sector, but power being in the concurrent list of the Constitution is always a challenge to the government. So let's see how it all gets captured going forward.
No, so are you saying you might decide against exiting the business if you see enough improvement and continue to actually operate these assets? Or you're saying, well, the decision has been made, you will exit this and focus on the core competency?
You see, the sentiments in these markets are improving so rapidly every day, every month, on the expectations of the strong and deeper reforms in place. I will only say, Prashant, a lot more need to be done on renewables. We all need to understand the challenges of the renewable power, our grid stability, power evacuation systems. They all, today we are using conventional power mechanisms to handle all these renewable mechanisms. So to my perspective, unless there are some associated reforms, the very act standalone may not do the magic, The question is, do we have the grid facilities matching with the renewable power challenges? Because it is basically an informed power, unlike conventional power, number one. Number two, do we have a separate grid code in the country to handle this power, not one grid code to regulate the whole of the and every type of power? Number three, is there any national mechanism to facilitate the transfer of the cost of the power to a society at large, to a nation? Our REC mechanism, which was envisaged in 8-9, has been a non-starter. Government has yet not come out with it, how they want to progress with these regimes, whether they will bring in new regimes or they will continue and strengthen these very regimes. So we all need to watch it very closely and strongly. When people were doing 5-10 megawatt, we went out to do 100 to 200 megawatt. Now country is talking of gigawatts. So it is all very, very, strong mandates and very, very exciting times. But we have to see whether regulatory mechanisms and all related regulatory mechanisms are in place to encourage this renewable power, because the mindset in the country today is largely how to deal with conventional power, because even today it is 95%. And but unless we think 95% of our time goes on mechanisms on renewable power, all these targets or dreams may be half accomplished.
Mr. Gupta, thank you very much, sir. Seems to be the classic old once bitten, twice shy syndrome. But I guess wise of you to have taken that call to kind of focus on the core competency, where again the government is talking big, and transmission, etc., has to be improved.
Absolutely.
So fair bit of investment
there.
there
So much to do with
as well.
our core competency.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.